We've all met that one person who seems naturally gifted at everything they touch. They pick up photography, and within months, they're creating stunning work. They switch careers and somehow excel faster than people who've been there for years. It looks effortless, while everyone else is still struggling with the basics. But what if I told you it's not just luck or natural talent? There is a specific group, about 1% of the population, operating with a psychological wiring that creates what can only be described as an unfair advantage. These are the INFJs. They aren't just lucky, they're operating with a completely different mental system that most people don't even know exists. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden mechanisms behind their quiet excellence and why they seem to master everything in secret. To understand an INFJ, you have to understand their background programs. Imagine you're having a simple conversation with an INFJ about coffee. To you, it's a straightforward chat, but in the INFJ's mind, they're running approximately 15 different programs simultaneously. They're noticing the slight tension in your voice. They're calculating if you're stressed based on something you mentioned a week ago. They're predicting how the weather might affect your mood and mentally adjusting the plan in real time. This is introverted intuition in action, a mental supercomputer that never stops connecting dots and building predictions. While most people see the world in snapshots, INFJs see it in a time-lapse, full of movement and connections that others miss. This isn't magic, it's a constant stream of background calculations based on feelings, observations, and experiences instead of code. This system changes how they learn. Most people absorb information sequentially, one fact at a time. INFJs learn holistically. They don't just collect facts, they immediately weave those facts into a massive web of everything else they know. When they encounter something new, they automatically ask, how does this connect to what I already know? What are the deeper principles here? Think of it like building a house. Most people build room by room in isolation. An INFJ designs the entire integrated structure first, understanding how every system interconnects before they even start. This creates exponential growth rather than linear accumulation. Each new skill doesn't just add to their knowledge, it multiplies the value of everything they already know. Here is where INFJs really break the rules. Universal keys. Most people collect individual keys for individual doors, one for photography, one for cooking, one for public speaking. INFJs extract the deeper principles, the physics of a domain, and apply them everywhere else. When an INFJ learns photography, they aren't just learning aperture, they're learning about light, timing, and emotional impact. Then they realize those same principles of timing and impact apply to a difficult conversation or a perfectly timed meal. I once knew an INFJ who transitioned from nursing to graphic design to running a therapy practice. To her, they weren't three different careers, they were just different versions of the same job, understanding people and solving problems. This one insight unlocks 10 doors phenomenon allows them to outpace experts in weeks because they're not starting from zero, they're applying proven patterns in new contexts. But there is a shadow side to this mastery, the silent perfectionism engine. You'll rarely see an INFJ struggle because it happens in the dark. At 2 a.m., they might rewrite an email 7 times, not because they're indecisive, but because they're optimizing for the exact emotional response they want to create. They'll practice a presentation alone until it flows like water, or scrap a project because one tiny element feels off in a way they can't even describe. This isn't about meeting your standards, it's about an internal standard so demanding it would crush most people. When they finally show you their work and say, "Oh, I just threw this together," they're not being modest. They just don't want the attention for the hours of psychological torture it took to reach their internal vision of perfection. Their excellence appears natural only because their iterations remain hidden. Finally, there's their most strategic advantage, emotional intelligence. An INFJ doesn't just sense a vibe, they read the individual emotional states of everyone in the room. They see the code behind the human interaction. In a meeting, they're not just listening to words, they're tracking who's getting defensive, who's losing interest, and who's about to explode. This makes them strategic chameleons. They can lead with logic for analytical people or stories for emotional ones. They can walk into a dysfunctional team and diagnose the underlying emotional resentments that no one else is talking about. Because they understand the human element that makes skills actually matter, they can navigate conflicts that would destroy other connections. The ultimate INFJ superpower is synthesis. They take a concept from a nature documentary, a personal memory, and a book on architecture and remix them into a solution that no one else saw coming. They don't have mental boxes for their skills. They have one giant interconnected web. Their knowledge doesn't just accumulate, it cross-pollinates. INFJ excellence isn't a lottery win, it's a compound effect of parallel processing, pattern recognition, and a silent drive for mastery. They aren't the loudest people in the room broadcasting their achievements, they're just doing the work and becoming excellent without the fanfare. If you're an INFJ, recognize the power of the system you're running, and if you know one, appreciate the quiet mastery they bring to the table. Thanks for watching. If you want to dive deeper into the INFJ mind, check out our other videos here. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into personality.